I'm sure a ton of you watching this video have already been playing Minecraft's long-awaited Nether update, or maybe even the last major update to Terraria called Journey's End. I've been a huge fan of these games ever since they came out, and I hold them very near and dear to my heart. So much so that I'm really glad that Minecraft doesn't have an hours played tracker associated with it, because I already have a lot of time invested in Terraria alone. Oh god. Where does the time go? Existential dread aside, in my downtime between Master Mode Terraria and hardcore Nether speedruns of Minecraft, I've also been watching some White Light's critique videos on Minecraft and Davo's reviews videos on Terraria, which both gave me some initial inspiration to start a Minecraft Terraria-esque project. But it wasn't until YouTube recommended a video to me uploaded by Sam Hogan called I Made Minecraft in 24 Hours that I really started to get interested in the project. As the title says, Sam set out to recreate Minecraft in just 24 hours using the Unity game engine. But not only just that, he was going to do it all without even using the internet. An absolute mad lad if you ask me. I couldn't even imagine myself not being able to use Google or Stack Overflow, let alone the whole entire internet. How am I supposed to look up something like, the Unity documentation without the internet? You could just download it, Oh yeah, smart guy? Here. Where's your download link now, huh? Oh, come on, man. You don't have to be so rude. I was just trying to help. Anyways, that got me thinking. I could totally try Sam Hogan's video idea. I'll just need to change it up a bit so it doesn't look like I copied. Ooh, you know what? I could do it in 2D instead. And I can even increase the time limit to 72 hours to complete it, so that it's kind of like my own personal game jam. I've done a few of them in the past, and they were always challenging and a lot of fun. If Sam Hogan was able to create that much in 24 hours, imagine how much I could do in 72 hours. I can add so many different things into the game, like mineable ores and challenging enemies and unique weapons and diverse biomes and awesome armors and accessories. The sky's the limit! So here's how I ended up making a 2D Minecraft or Terraria game in only 72 hours. Usually at the beginning of most projects that I do, I start by outlining all the things I need to complete in order to finish the game. Stuff like creating the player controller, world generation, inventory system, and fluffy marshmallow controller, just to name a few. After I finish my outline, I then start by getting some art ready to go to begin prototyping. Some people prefer to just use simple squares or circles when prototyping in order to get the basic behaviors up and running, but I prefer having the art since it helps me better visualize the game. Plus, since this is going on YouTube, I'm pretty sure most people would rather watch an actual character moving around instead of just a box. But if you feel like you'd want to see another challenge video where I make a game just using prototype art, leave a comment below and depending on the feedback, I might consider it. Especially because even simple and easy tweaks like particle systems or squash and stretching can make even static objects like squares move so fluidly. Just look at this example I made. It's like a little fluffy marshmallow. Ooh, I can mark that one off the list. Leaving that aside, since I already have Photoshop installed on my computer, I figured I might as well start by making some basic sprites for the character. Now, you know what time it is. It is time for the montage!
I'm doing it! I'm doing it! Yeah! Yeah! And some of these, and some of these. Almost there, and done.
No, 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 no. Look at the top of his head. Look at his lips.
You know what? I didn't want to create my own art anyways. It's not that I'm bad at it, I just don't have a lot of time. I'd have to make the character, plus the terrain assets, and then the background art. It's just too much work. Besides, there's a ton of free resources online, including one of my favorites, which is KennyNL. It has a whole host of game assets, from 2D packs like this platformer pack to even 3D packs like this tower defense kit. It even includes audio and UI packs in it as well. It's pretty much like a one-stop shop for game development assets. Kenny also just so happens to have made a voxel pack that I can use for this challenge I'm doing. It's got more of a Minecraft kind of feel to it, but I think it'll work for what we're trying to accomplish. Plus, isn't Terraria really just 2D Minecraft anyways?
You are fake news.
All jokes aside, you can use most of Kenny's assets for the sweet, sweet price of free. You just have to make sure to include the license and credit the creator. The next important step I needed to have was some sort of tile system, which is the foundation of pretty much a ton of these sandbox games. Whether it be a 3D game like Minecraft, a 2D game like Terraria, or even a top-down game like Factorio. Another game I've spent way too much time in. Now, if anyone here knows a little bit about Unity, they have their own fully fledged 2D tile map system built straight into the engine, which would be perfect for this situation here since it's got pretty much all the basics covered, such as a customizable grid system, placing and deleting tiles, and even integrated physics colliders associated with the tile map. And for whatever reason, I decided that I wanted to roll my own tile map system. I figured it'd be easier to customize the behavior of it, but in the end, it ended up being the wrong decision. Getting a grid and camera system was the easiest part of beginning the tile map system. I even made a simple character controller and put this little gnome guy to fly in around the grid world. But when it came time to make the tile map mesh, let's just say it didn't go so well. In the end, I got it working, but then once I was confronted with having to get the physics to work with the tile map mesh system as well, I pretty much gave up at that point. Especially since I wasn't keeping track of the time, and somehow 5 hours had already passed? Oh god! I just used up 5 of my precious hours on this! And it was a complete failure! A failure! So once I calmed down from that, I quickly began prototyping using Unity's 2D tile map, and luckily, porting over the camera and character systems to the new tile map was nice and easy. But the grid and mesh system I made had to be completely dumped. Then, I moved on to having the player physically move around the world instead of just flying everywhere. And oh yeah, I dumped the gnome guy while I was at it and put together this new character. His name is, Speeve! Yeah, Speeve. There were some interesting complications that came with making the player controller work on the ground, but with time, I got it to a good state.
Mission failed. We'll get them next time.
Well, after I also fixed that. You can now place and remove different blocks from the world using the left and right mouse buttons respectively, and copy the block you're hovering over with the middle mouse button. But I felt like I was still missing something really important. I just couldn't put my finger on it. Oh, that's right! I need an inventory, health, camera zooming, and some more player animations and fluid movement. Wait a minute. That's not right. I was supposed to be getting procedural generation working. Oh god. I don't even know how I didn't prioritize another foundation of sandbox games, which is procedural generation. Most sandbox games end up generating their worlds using procedural generation because it gives people playing the game infinite possibilities in how their world is created. It's a really neat trick developers can use to add replayability to their games, as I'm sure many of you know. Typically, it's done using a technique called Perlin noise to create a bunch of numbers that they can then use to represent different things in their game, such as textures, caves, hills, or whatever. The reason why Perlin noise is so great is because it transitions from number to number in such a smooth fashion compared to just strict randomness. And at least to me, the Perlin noise always ends up looking more pleasing than just pure random noise. You can even animate Perlin noise as well, and it ends up looking really trippy when using 3D noise. With that in mind, I got the tile map to generate hills and caves with Perlin noise, which was surprisingly easy, especially since Unity has Perlin noise built into their math library. It ended up taking roughly 2 hours, and I was feeling pretty confident with my progress, since this part was the one I was most worried about. Which probably explains why I kept procrastinating on it. The next day, when I woke up, I was feeling ready to go. After how much progress I made on the procedural generation side of things yesterday, I wanted to keep that streak going, so I started working on generating ores underground. Kind of like how Minecraft or Terraria does it, where ores will only spawn at certain layers of the world. Kenny's voxel pack included a bunch of ores in the art as well, such as coal, iron, copper, silver, gold, and even diamonds. The ore generation system ended up being a lot of fun to make, especially when I could zoom out and see all the ores changing as I tweaked the parameters. Once that was done, I felt the overworld was a little bit empty, so I added a background and some foliage to the ground so that it breaks up the flatness of the world, and I think it ended up looking pretty good. Since this game was supposed to be a mix of both Minecraft and Terraria, I figured it was time to add an important aspect of Terraria, which is combat. So I first went to Kenny's website to see if they had any enemy packs that I could use, and sure enough, he had an extended enemies pack which had all these cute little slime enemies which I thought would be perfect to add for an even more Terraria feel to the game. It was a little tricky trying to tweak the jumping attacks and animations to feel right, but in the end, I felt like it'll do for now. And while I was getting the slime to work, I noticed a few more bugs with the player controller and some other scripts I'd written, and decided I'd squash them now and not let them get out of hand. I figured I should add a bunch of the other tiles that were included in the voxel pack, since just placing dirt and stone along with some ores wasn't much fun. Plus, I was pretty sure I wasn't going to have enough time to add a crafting system into the game to get the different tiles naturally, so I just picked the simplest option and let the player pick from a bunch of tiles from their inventory. It was easy to implement, and it actually made playing the game a lot more fun now, since now you had a wide selection of blocks to pick from. Get those creative juices flowing. At this point, I was really starting to feel the pressure from the time limit, which I think contributed to me being more exhausted, and by the end of the day, once I hit the bed, I was sleeping like a baby. This time, instead of feeling refreshed when I woke up, I just ended up in a cold sweat. I could physically feel the seconds pass by as I recalled all the things that I still needed to finish, and I only had 24 hours left. So I took a look at my outline and started removing a bunch of unnecessary stuff on the list in order to see what I needed to make to actually call this a complete game. And one of those things is saving and loading the world. So far, once I exited play mode in Unity, all the changes made to the world before starting would disappear, and it would get reverted back to its original state. So I figured that this should be one of the foundational features needed in any sandbox game, since being creative and not being able to come back to it at a later point, or even share it with other people, felt bad to me. I ended up using a technique I used a long time ago of encoding the tile data into characters and saving it into a text file. It probably wasn't the most efficient way to do it, but I liked this method a lot because you could visually see what your world looked like once it was saved. Wait, what's that? Who drew this? Oh, wait, never mind. That's just a sideways creeper.
Please clap.
After getting rid of that, I quickly jumped over to creating a menu system since, at the end of the day, you guys aren't going to be playing this game inside of Unity, but in its own executable, so it needs at least some kind of menu. I'll keep it simple for now, just adding a new world button that lets you pick different world sizes and input your own custom seed value, which then will change to a continue world if it finds a save file in the data folder, and a delete button that deletes your current save. And finally, a quit button, which, you guessed it, quits the game. Then I proceeded to do even more testing to make sure everything was working fine, especially the save system, since I wouldn't want everyone's beautiful creations getting lost to the void.
Nice.
After a bunch of testing, it was pretty much ready to go. Or at least as ready as it'll ever be with 1 hour of testing. It still felt a little bit empty when building, since you could still see the background when you go inside your house. But then, I had the brilliant idea to add the ability to place a block as a wall, which I definitely didn't take from Terraria at all. And that simple tweak improved the building system by a lot. And it was really easy to add. I just had to duplicate the ground tile layer, remove the collider from it, and add a gray tint to the tile map so that it darkens the tile, making it look like it's in the background. So now, when you're holding shift, you can place tiles into the background with a block you have. Granted, the new wall tiles broke my save system. Wait, what? Oh no, 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 I'm running out of time! I have to fix this as quick as possible! And as the timer slowly made its way to 0, the challenge had to be declared complete. Unfortunately, I didn't get to fully implement all the things I wanted to put into the game, such as the combat mechanics, since it ended up taking a good chunk out of my 72 hours, which felt like a waste of time. There were also some quick hacks that I had to make towards the end. Dear God, no one ever look at this awful programming, please. But at least now I had something that was fun for me to play, and I hope you guys enjoy it too. As I'm writing this, the game is being uploaded to itch.io right now, and by the time this video hits YouTube, you can click the link in the description to give the game a try. There's a WebGL build that you can play straight from your browser, and a Windows executable if you prefer to play it that way. The controls are also going to be written on the page if you had any questions on how to play the game. This is the first of many videos to come, so if you enjoyed this content, make sure to hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you won't miss any future updates. You might as well, since it's free anyways. Plus, I have some exciting content coming down the road that you wouldn't want to miss. And if you have any other suggestions for video topics that I could cover in the future, feel free to drop a comment down below. Also, if you found this video funny, please smack that like button and share it with your friends and family. This is my first fully edited YouTube video, and it would mean a lot to me if you guys did that. Now make sure to stay safe and have a fantastic day.